Hi, everyone. My name is Jonathan Campos, and I'm here today with Joe Castellanos. And we're very excited today to talk to you about service reliability and redundancy at scale, how it's done at Okta. If you have any questions, please note that we do have a live team here to answer your questions. So bring on those questions. We want to make sure that everyone here gets an opportunity to get their questions answered. So please bring those questions on. So before we get started, I do want to quickly introduce ourselves. We're going to start with Joe. Joe, if you want to go ahead and take it away.
Hey everyone, I'm Joe Castellanos. I'm a group product manager here at Okta focused on scalability, and I'm super excited to share some of the new enhancements we have coming to the platform soon.
Awesome. And I'm Jonathan Campos. I'm a senior product marketing manager here at Okta, and I'm also focused on platform infrastructure and scalability as well. Now, when it comes to a partnership, the foundation of any partnership is trust. Service is trustworthy and built with the highest standards for security and reliability. And we take this commitment very, very seriously. We employ a comprehensive end-to-end approach to security within our organization. And what does that mean for you? Well, it's simple. We believe that these efforts are a solid foundation of trust that is paramount to a successful long-term partnership between Okta and our customers. And this is exactly why over 16,400 organizations worldwide rely on Okta to protect and manage their most critical applications. And this is a great example here. Major League Baseball, who works with Okta throughout their season to provide their fans with an incredible experience. I know they provide me with an incredible experience when I want to take a look at my favorite team like the Miami Marlins. There's no better day that exemplifies our partnership like opening day. We want to make sure that their end users, their customers have the best experience possible.
Now, John, you mentioned that the Okta platform is built with trust at its core. Let's bring that to life a little bit for the audience. Talk about the platform innovations and how it's helped build that trust with our customers.
Absolutely, Joe. And I want to highlight specifically these 4 major points. See, at Okta, what we've done here is we've architected, number 1, a zero plan downtime environment. What that means is when our maintenance is occurring, this doesn't affect your users. We've architected our global infrastructure across the board to ensure that we have zero plan downtime. And off to my second point, which is building self-healing nodes. In the event of a service outage, some type of issue with one of our services, we have the ability of actually automatically correcting these issues. And behind the scenes is some very intricate automation that allows for these nodes to automatically heal themselves. On my third point is our tenant rate limiting. And what that means is that it provides isolation across the board to avoid any type of noisy neighbor or any type of service that may be overwhelming the environment, right? This tenant rate limiting really does help bring the best end user experience. And this is really what makes Okta reliable and what makes Okta specifically different.
The bottom line, folks, is that Okta is a global service built with reliability and resiliency at its core. These are not just advertisements of our availability numbers. These are the numbers we've actually hit thus far in 2021 and 2022.
Absolutely, Joe. And one other thing to keep in mind is that our customers can actually visit trust.okta.com for more information on our live SLA to learn more. Now, I want to touch on the 3 major pillars in which we've built Okta and the Okta platform, that is. As your partner in identity, we understand that identity is mission critical, and organizations depend on their identity service to protect and manage access to their most critical applications and data. This is exactly why we understand that identity holds the keys to the kingdom and is one of those core cloud services that should be considered based on the pillars of its architecture, feature set, availability, security, and scalability. So what does that mean? This is exactly why we've built Okta around these 3 pillars: always on, secure by design, and built for scale. See, the service must be always available and be architected for extreme resiliency. with zero downtime and no maintenance windows required, as I mentioned before. The service must be more secure than anything you could build and operate on your own, including world-class innovative security controls, features that are built around also a zero trust methodology. And the service must also automatically scale when your business needs it. You should have the ability to scale up when you need it and scale down when you don't. Now, let's take a look at how we achieve service reliability and take a look a little bit behind the curtain as towards what the Okta infrastructure looks like. What you're seeing here is a visual representation of the Okta Identity Service. And the Okta Identity Service is deployed among 3 different availability zones. Availability zones within a given region, that is. Now, availability zones means that you actually have the Okta Identity Service deployed across 3 different geographical locations within a given region. And like in this example that you can see here with US West 2. We have 3 routers, load balancers, application servers, job servers, database servers, and so on and so forth. These particular services, again, are replicated in an active deployment. So let's say, for an example, what if an outage were to occur within one of the given services? Well, it's simple. See, you have 2 other availability zones readily available in the event that we have this outage. What happens if 2 availability zones are down? Well, you're still covered. See, services are replicated across the board within these 3 availability zones, so you're absolutely covered in the event that something like this would happen.
Now, John, you showed what happens if a single availability zone were to go down, and even if a second availability zone were to go down. But what happens if all 3 go down?
You know, Joe, you bring up a great point. And this is exactly why we have disaster recovery regions. See, we hope that something like this would never happen, but if it does, we want to make sure that our customers are covered. What you see here is an example where US West 2 has gone down, and we're actually sending customer requests over to our US East region, where all of this data is replicated across 3 new availability zones as a backup solution in the event that something like this were to occur.
Now, does this differ at all between the Workforce Identity Cloud and the Customer Identity Cloud?
You know, Joe, that's a great question. And absolutely, it does not. See, the only difference here is that the actual services that are used for our Customer Identity Cloud are what's unique to their deployment. But you still get the benefits of replication across 3 availability zones, as well as a disaster recovery region in the event of a major outage within a given active region. Customers still get the benefits of having a disaster recovery region on standby in the event something were to occur. Now, when it comes to compliance, compliancy is a big, important topic to us at Okta. And we specifically focus on a wide range of industry standard certifications and authorizations to help our customers. Specifically, you can see from the examples here with our Workforce Identity Cloud meeting GDPR standards, FIPS 140-2 compliance, as well as ISO 27001, which stretches across to our Customer Identity Cloud. We here at Okta adhere to the most rigorous security and operational standards available in the market. What I encourage everyone to do is to visit trust.okta.com/compliance, where you can get detailed information on our compliance and operational standards. Now, when it comes to scalability, we want to make sure that we have built a scalable infrastructure to support your business needs. Specifically, we've deployed an elastic architecture that can scale up with our Workforce Identity Cloud of up to 1 million requests per minute and our Customer Identity Cloud of up to 360,000 requests per minute.
John, you mentioned that the Workforce Identity Cloud can now handle 1 million requests per minute. The Customer Identity Cloud can now handle up to 360,000 requests per minute. How are customers benefiting from this?
That's a great point. And it comes down to major sell events like a Super Bowl or some type of opening event or some holiday shopping. We want to make sure that customers have the capacity that they need to make sure that they can meet their customers' needs. their end users' needs as well. We've built Okta with sophisticated capacity planning around the world to make sure that our global footprint meets our customers' business needs. Now, I want to hand things off to Joe, where Joe is going to take us through what's new and next for the Workforce Identity Cloud Platform and the Customer Identity Cloud Platform.
Thanks, Jonathan. I'm very excited to share what's new and what's next coming to the Workforce and Customer Identity Clouds, investments in scale and reliability. First off, we have the GA release of the rate limit dashboard. We have a screenshot here showing how easy and clear it is for administrators to, one, understand what the limit is specific to their organization, two, track how much of those limits are being used, and three, proactively monitor, investigate, and remediate spikes before they become an issue.
So, Joe, quick question. How did this used to work before?
Yeah, so previously, an event for each rate limit violation would get emitted into the system log, but that event only contained the details for the request that broke the camel's back, and thus triggering the violation. Not the most helpful when you're trying to investigate what the overall cause was.
So what's new? What's changed?
Now customers have full transparency into their limits and the consumption of those limits. And all of this is available to Workforce Identity Cloud customers today with an entry point in the Okta admin console. Enough talk though, it's demo time. Let's jump in and see the rate limit dashboard in action.
Now when you land in the admin console, in the left nav under reports, you can now select rate limits. This will land you on the rate limit overview page where you can see all of the APIs and their rate limits specific to your organization. Now you can also search for a specific API, like the authentication API, and get even more details. Once you're in the detailed view, you can see how much of the rate limit your organization is using down to the minute for the past week. And within each minute, you can see the top requesting IPs. Now you have a simple and easy way to view the rate limit specific to your organization, get details into how much of those limits are being used and by who, allowing you to proactively plan and troubleshoot issues.
While the rate limit dashboard is now proactive, we also wanted to focus on reducing the overall number of rate limit violations customers could hit to begin with. We've done that by introducing burst rate limits. Burst rate limits provides insurance for our customers when they're experiencing higher than usual traffic by letting them exceed their default limits. We do this by allowing organizations to exceed their default limits by up to 5 times for unplanned usage on specific authentication and end user APIs.
You know, Joe, that's great. But now, why is allowing orgs to exceed their default limits so important?
Yeah, John, imagine you're an administrator monitoring your environment using the rate limit dashboard. Everything may be looking the same as usual, but unknowing to you, your marketing team is about to launch a new campaign that's going to send traffic through the roof. Burst rate limits is there to provide customers peace of mind by ensuring even unplanned traffic spikes can still be successful. Let's jump into another demo of how burst rate limits and the rate limit dashboard work in action.
Let's imagine I'm an administrator at a company about to launch a big sale. In preparation for the sale, I coordinated with the marketing team to project how much traffic we expect during the sale. With that info, I went and made sure our Okta org was sized appropriately based on those projections. Now let's fast forward. The sale just ended and it was a mega success. It was even more successful than we projected. We had projected that we needed 2,500 requests per minute, but it turned out we needed much more. Normally when that happens, you run into issues, but not with Okta. In the rate limit detailed view, I can see my limit on this API is 2,500 requests per minute, and I can see traffic started to pick up as the launch of the sale approached and stayed pretty consistently high during the duration of the sale. At its peak, we actually reached over 3,500 requests per minute. Even though the sale generated more requests than we planned, it still went off without a hitch because burst rate limits was there to support the traffic that went beyond what we planned. I can even go back to the rate limit overview page and see the reports showing the burst rate limit system log events that were triggered in relation to the event. This is a great example of how burst rate limits and the rate limit dashboard can really help organizations that have planned and unplanned usage spikes still be successful.
We also continue to invest in improving and maturing the reliability of the service. An example of this, we've recently added support for multi-region ingress. This allows a request to be routed to the nearest AWS point of presence and then routed on the AWS backbone to the appropriate AWS region where the Okta service is hosted. This is so important because this reduces the overall risk of network connectivity failures to one region on the public internet. You can imagine an application deployed in the US West data center. Before, all requests to the application, regardless of where they were made from, would be routed over the public internet into the US West data center. But this puts a single point of failure on the internet service provider going into that data center. Now, with multi-region ingress, when requests are made to your application, those requests will be routed to the nearest AWS point of presence, which are all over the globe, and then routed to the US West data center over the private AWS backbone. This capability is generally available for all Workforce Identity Cloud customers today.
Now, Joe, you bring up a good point. I was actually just going to mention that before. You bring up a good point. See, network outages can really hinder any organization. Network redundancy here is definitely key, for sure.
Exactly, John. And here's an example of what Global Accelerator looks like. Highlighted in red, you can see what's going on. You can see from the example ping request to an Okta org that the request is immediately routed to the Global Accelerator network, sending traffic directly on the AWS backbone to the appropriate region where the Okta service is hosted. Just as I mentioned before, this ensures that your traffic is always sent to the nearest healthy, available endpoint, helping to mitigate service disruption due to network outages, packet loss, or latency. Another area we are investing in is disaster recovery. While the service runs in an active mode across 3 availability zones, we wanted to enhance the disaster recovery process if the entire region were to go down and become unavailable. In the future, in the event of a regional service outage with a cloud provider, we will be able to fail over the service to a read-only mode within minutes and give customers the control to initiate the failover self-service. We will continue to invest in enhancements like these and continue to improve Okta's resiliency.
Joe, you've covered a great deal of new investments for Workforce Identity Cloud. What's up with the Customer Identity Cloud? What's new and next for them?
We also have a ton of new enhancements coming to the Customer Identity Cloud as well. Let's jump into those. First off, we are adding support for Private Link for AWS and Azure. This offers dedicated connectivity between 2 VPCs. By the end of the month, our Customer Identity Cloud private cloud customers will be able to utilize it for better and faster control within their broader technology stack. Identity is likely one of many layers in your application stack, and Private Link allows those layers to communicate without exposing traffic to the public internet.
Joe, now that I'm looking at this, what I'm hearing is when a customer wants some exclusive internal access to their resources, Private Link is the answer for better control and better security here, isn't it?
That's exactly right, John. The next enhancement to the Customer Identity Cloud, Private Cloud, is the introduction of the new Performance Max SKU, which offers higher requests per minute for customers whose scenarios require such capacity. We understand that customers have seasonal and annual events like Black Friday sales or ticket releases that require significantly more throughput than their normal day-to-day. Now we are able to meet those needs up to 360,000 requests per minute with even further investments planned. These new thresholds have been tested in our performance labs and will be available in Q4.
Joe, this is a great offering here for customers who need support for special events like the Super Bowl or some type of opening day at the ballpark. They never want to really lose their customers on a special day like that when they're really, really needing their services.
That's right. Absolutely, John. But it doesn't stop there. In the effort of transparency, we are introducing the status page for private cloud customers. This is similar to the page that has been available for our public cloud offering, enabling customers a self-service way to view the status of their core services. Last up, currently, the Customer Identity Cloud, public cloud, is offered in the US, EU, Japan, and Australia. we're super excited to share that the UK will be added as a new supported region in early 2023. In addition, our private cloud customers will be getting more self-service controls around setting policies and environment management, which will reduce the time needed for them to coordinate with support teams.
And this continued global expansion, I have to say, looks like a great option for our customers that might have data residency requirements.
You got it, John.
So, Joe, I have to say, you've covered a ton of information here on today's presentation. The one question I do have is, how can customers get their hands on these features and learn more?
Yeah, John. So some of these features are already available in customer environments today. And to learn more about new and upcoming features, customers should be able to check out support.okta.com and support.auth0.com for the latest releases and release notes. Last but not least, we just want to say thank you to everyone for tuning in and enjoy the rest of your Oktane.
Thanks, everyone.